Very good evening, dear friends. And today's program is meant for again the fourth semester corporate law branch students, both regular and private, paper 7 and branch 4, corporate and securities laws, unit 4. Already, unit 4 we have discussed about the introduction of the Consumer Protection Act, and I will discuss some important definitions in today's program. Friends, the first definition is complainant. Section 2, 1B deals with the subject matter of complainant. Well, by studying this definition, you have to study the other parts of the definitions also. That is how you have to make out your study. This particular proviso 2.1b says complainant means a consumer or any voluntary consumer association registered under the Companies Act or under any other law for the time being in force. It should be a registered body, either under Companies Act or otherwise. Then friends, it could be individually a consumer, organizationally any organization. Then the governments also, central or state government can also make a complaint. And one or more consumers, where there are numerous consumers, can give jointly a complaint. And in case of death of a consumer, the legal representatives, that is the LRs, who or which makes a complaint. So a question comes here, a consumer and other organizations. So then who is a consumer? Now section 2.1d says that a consumer means any person who buys any goods for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partly paid and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment and includes any user of such goods other than the person who buys such goods for consideration paid or promised or partly paid or partly promised or under any system of deferred payment when such use is made with the approval of such person but does not include a person who obtains such goods for resale or for any commercial purpose. Number one, consumer is here classified as a person who can buy goods, right? And must be for consideration. If it is free of cost, he is not a consumer. Second thing, it could be on cash or credit. This is the next aspect. Apart from that, any person with the permission of the original buyer who is utilizing these particular goods also can be brought under the definition of consumer. That means father purchases certain atta, poison, whole family suffers. All the family members along with the father will get compensation. That is simplicity, you can say that. Then friends, the second part of the definition, 2.1d, 2 says, one is goods, purchase. Second is hires or avails of any services for consideration. Here the services are multifarious. That is, services which are availed for a consideration, which has been paid or promised or partly paid, and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment, cash or credit, and includes any beneficiary, same again episode. Only thing here it is services, there it is goods. Then the same thing will come, but in both the cases, it does not include a person who avails such goods or services for any commercial purpose, any resale or commercial purpose. If these goods are taken up then he is not a consumer. So, the raw material to reach end product, the purchaser of raw material will not come into this picture. In the same way, services which are utilized for further resale purpose, commercial purpose will not come into this picture. Otherwise, for his individual purpose, these things are taken, then he would be taken as a consumer. And then, for the purpose of commercial purpose, there is an explanation given to this particular proviso which says that commercial purpose does not include use by a person of goods bought and used by him and services availed exclusively for the purpose of earning his livelihood by means of self-employment. What is the best example? A Xerox machine purchased by me to make out a livelihood, self-financing. So, it is not commercial purpose. But a company purchasing certain raw material, making it into an end product, it is commercial purpose. A typist for self-employment, purchasing a typewriter, electrical typewriter or a computer, it is not commercial purpose. So if there is any defect, then he can go to the consumer forum and then sue the manufacturer and the seller as the case may be. So friends, this is the definition pertaining to complainant. And the definition of consumer also I have given you incidentally. And then the next important definition here slated is the manufacturer. Under the Consumer Protection Act, Section 2(1)(j), manufacturer is stated to be a person who makes or manufactures any goods or part thereof, or does not make or manufacture any goods, but assembles parts thereof made or manufactured by others, or puts or causes to be put his own mark on any goods made or manufactured by any other manufacturer. So outsourcing also will come. Whether it is manufacturing or outsourcing and then putting stamp, assembling, ultimately a person who is doing all this will come under this particular category of a manufacturer. Because here manufacturer has got a liability. So obviously we have to understand who is a manufacturer. The subject of Consumer Protection Act for the examination purposes as it is given in the syllabus. So you can follow only that particular aspect. The next definition is consumer dispute. An important question as to what is the exact meaning of a consumer dispute. So friends, Section 2(1)(e) speaks of consumer dispute, which means a dispute where the person against whom a complaint has been made denies or disputes the allegations contained in the complaint. That means a dispute means a wrangle, a quarrel, a difference of opinion, where the person against whom a complaint has been made denies the allegations or disputes the allegations. It could be disputing or denying, both contained in the complaint. Then you can say that is a consumer dispute. Then friends, there is one more important aspect, that is service. This particular aspect I will take up in the next part. This particular part is part 4. So that is in part 5 I will cover it. Thank you.